Yes, here I go, just reading a very controversial book.
Did you ever make anything happen? Anything you couldn't explain? You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Not only does Harry Potter not promote the occult, it not promotes Christianity. What's up? It's me, your boy. Hello everyone, welcome to Real Talk, where I talk about movies and conspiracy theories. But mostly movies. Today we're talking about Harry Potter and how he is objectively Christian. I'm sure no one's going to be upset with that. I think there is a place within the Harry Potter world for both Christians to enjoy Harry Potter as well as people who are non-Christian. Harry Potter has room for everybody. Aside from, what's her name? J.K. Rowling, there it is. Aside from her, she shouldn't, apparently, she's too controversial for her own franchise anymore. Goodbye, later. Go the way of George Lucas.
You go to make a movie and all you do is get criticized, and people try to make decisions about what you're going to do before you do it. You know, it's not much fun.
The thing that she created, it's like a grab bag of like English literature. So she took a whole bunch of different things. Like in the Harry Potter world, there's Kelpies and there's this and there's that. It's very rare that you find like a truly organic or unique piece of iconography within the Harry Potter franchise. So she took a lot of elements from both the occult and Christianity and a whole bunch of different stuff. Oh, like, comment, and subscribe.
A Nashville Catholic school making national headlines. This after St. Edward's pulled the Harry Potter series from its library.
I am both a Christian and a casual enjoyer of the Harry Potter series. It's not my favorite franchise out there, but it's a franchise that I believe is worth revisiting every so often. In the early 2000s, there was a cabal of religious people who vehemently despised the Harry Potter books. They also hated the live-action Jim Carrey Grinch movie for some reason, but that's neither here nor there. The movement to denigrate Harry Potter has died down, though there are some religious people who hold firm to this stance. After looking into it, I found some commonalities people have made as to why Harry Potter is demonic. Today, we're going to break them down. Yes, I am a practicing Christian, raised Roman Catholic, but I wasn't very good at being a Roman Catholic, which I guess makes me a good Roman Catholic. I enjoy Harry Potter in a casual way. Every once in a while, I revisit them and I just kind of put them on, rewatch them. Recently, I was kind of, because I'm more media savvy than I ever have been, I was really inundated with so much Christian iconography in the story of Harry Potter. Like, I went into it and midway through, probably like by the third or fourth movie, I was just like, okay, there's more here than I remember there being. So then it made me, for the remainder of the series, I just had my Christian hat on. Maybe I'm going in here with a kind of a confirmation bias, but we'll see by the end of the video when people with decorum and poise comment below.
Hey, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
Okay, so I hadn't seen the totality of the Harry Potter movies for 15 years. Since they came out, essentially. I've rewatched pockets of them, like Azkaban, I would put that on, or like whatever, but I hadn't seen it from beginning to end since I was a kid. On one hand, I'm more religious now than I was when I was younger, but also obviously like I am more media savvy and I create movies and I watch a lot of movies, so like I research it a whole bunch. Obviously, it's seasoned my perception. It's very obvious that the Christian people who are attacking Harry Potter didn't watch a lick of it. It's because they're afraid of it. And they see like some kind of witchcraft kind of thing, and it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna distance myself from this only because like I've more or less been conditioned to distance myself from it. I don't want anything to do with it. I think from a casual viewer, it's gonna be a little more difficult. There's things that are just like really like kind of buried in there, and like things that like have been assimilated into the cultural zeitgeist, at least in America, where it is deeply Christian, but like when the idea came forward in society, it was Christian and controversial at the time. The thought of heavenly forgiveness, like that's not That was like forgiveness as a concept essentially came out of Christianity. If you're a religious person who dislikes Harry Potter for his promotion of other religions, I hope you refuse to watch The Odyssey for its promotion of the Greek pantheon, Gandhi for its promotion of Hinduism, or even Star Wars for its promotion of the Force and the Jedi. Good storytelling is just good storytelling, and Harry Potter doesn't promote any religion over the other. Actually, I take that back. There are more signs to promote that a majority of the characters are Christian, being that there are scenes in school with Christmas trees heavily prevalent. In fact, the familial togetherness of Christmas is of major importance to the plot of Harry Potter. And let's be honest, in modern day, any school that promotes Christmas or Christian iconography would be deemed radically right-wing by the standards of the mid-2020s. Of the 19 hours and 39 minutes of the original Harry Potter movies, roughly 37 minutes take place with a Christmas backdrop, which is 3.14% of its runtime. The fact that this clear religious imagery exists without question in this universe only lends itself to the contrary of the claim of anti-Christian belief. Now, I could also see the argument that the image of the Christmas trees originated with paganism, and seeing them as a promotion of its original practice, but I believe that argument falls apart when Harry visits his mother and father's grave with a Bible quote from 1 Corinthians 15:26. "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." Not only promoting the canon of Christianity within the context of the universe, but more importantly, that the Potter family belief in Christianity exists as well. With that being said, I could also see the argument that with this connotation, the Harry Potter franchise is bastardizing the original text. I mean, who knows the Bible better than the devil? This argument could go on in circles and circles, but we're moving on to my next point, which is more important. So, there are scenes in Harry Potter, it's, super important that Christmas exists. Just in life, when Christmas happens, you go with your family and your friends, you exchange gifts. It's all about, joy to the world and, exchanging pleasantries, essentially. Harry Potter has a step family. I think it's his mother's sister, and they just treat him like absolute garbage. So a lot of the time he spends Christmas with his friends and his friend's family. So it's him sharing Christmas with them. If this were satanic or Wiccan or what have you, I think there would be more references to those things, and there's not. There's not at all. Well, I mean, maybe slightly, only because the witchcraft thing, but it's so fantastical that it's so far removed from the true practice of Wicca in our reality. Christmas outweighs any other holiday in the Harry Potter franchise. I think there's a little bit of Halloween that I gotta be honest, I don't remember a lot of it. Even in Fantastic Beasts, which is it's technically a prequel of the Harry Potter franchise, it takes place during wintertime and Christmas. I think J.K. Rowling it obviously has an affinity for Christmas. It evokes that iconography. There's a character who's a baker. It's snowing. If you'd make the argument that Harry Potter promotes Wicca, Satanism, or other forms of magic-based religion, please allow me to systemically break down why that isn't the case. Within the magical world of Harry Potter, there are those who believe in heroism and decency, and those who believe in self-centered power, or simply put, good versus evil. I can see people argue that all magic is evil, but within the context of this world, people are born with gifts beyond their control. The use of those gifts is what defines them as people. A prevalent theme of Harry Potter is the importance of intention over outcome. In other words, what's inside of your heart as opposed to what you're able to achieve. That's where the real magic comes from, but we'll go into that more later. As an exercise, let's take a contemporary work of fiction written by a Christian author that also uses wizardry and magic to promote righteous acts. Lord of the Rings. In this story, the wizard, Gandalf, is more akin to that of an angel, with the moniker of wizard as a placeholder for his abilities. You can view Harry Potter in the same way. In both stories, a magical being is tasked to vanquish an almighty evil for the betterment of their world. Sounds like another story I know. Though, to drive home Harry Potter is more akin to Christian ideology than most believe, the villain is a serpent-like man who wishes to both become immortal and purge those of impure blood. Biblically, there's only one man of purity who overcame death, and it's obvious he disagrees with the obvious totalitarian equivalence the villain is invoking. One could make the argument that Harry Potter is a World War II allegory with code of wizard paint over it, more so than any other gateway drug to the occult. The villain, Voldemort, believes only those of pure Aryan-like lineage should be heralded, whereas Harry Potter and a certain carpenter believe in a blanket love all beings should experience. To achieve this goal, the evil snake man splits his soul into multiple artifacts to prolong his life. These items are the crux of our character's horror, which brings me to my first deconstruction of the occult examples in this series. The spells and naming conventions in this series are spoken in broken Latin portmanteaus. For example, Wingardium Leviosa, the spell that makes things fly, both invokes the word wing and levitate. You'd be hard-pressed to find any seasoned believer of the occult who'd claim casting accurate spells would be so easy, as if to plug your desires into Google Translate and improperly announce them in a dead language would work. Another naming convention being that J.K. Rowling named a good portion of the good and decent characters after well-known Christians, seeing Hedwig being the name of Harry Potter's loyal and beloved pet owl. In an interview, J.K. Rowling did show reverence to the religion of Christianity by claiming she may have accidentally committed the sin of sacrilege by doing so. Spellcasting. They just use, broken language. Like Horcruxes. Horror crux of horror. So within the context of Harry Potter, the characters who remove the willpower of somebody else is the villain. There are 3 unforgivable spells or curses. You can't kill people. You cannot make people move without their consent. And you can't torture them. So essentially it's just you robbing the will of somebody else. Everything else is basically on the table. The ingredients for potions are dragon scales, phoenix feathers, and other fantastical things that don't exist in our world, making it wildly ineffective as an introduction to the occult. If this was a proper introduction to magical rituals, they wouldn't use made-up materials. Oh, but John, whether it's practical or not is irrelevant. The important thing is promotion. Okay, within the context of this world, potion brewing is akin to pharmacists in our world. Using context clues, would you make the argument against your local CVS? I mean, I would, but not for that reason. I once went in to buy a scarf and only returned it because I could just use the receipt. Potions brewing, right? So it's they in the Harry Potter world, it's they treat it like a pharmacy. But yeah, obviously there's bad pharmacy people out there. There's people who get addicted to pills. There's an opioid epidemic. It's maybe you should, if you're a person who hates Harry Potter, maybe you should look into that first. Hate your local pharmacist who keeps getting people addicted to opioids. That's more of a villain in your life than Harry Potter. Within the walls of Hogwarts, ghosts casually roam the halls and exchange funny stories or even knowledge of current events. To Christians, this shouldn't be a foreign concept, being that chosen people are visited by divine beings often. The deceased parents of Harry Potter even aid him from beyond the grave in a way akin to a guardian angel. If you're upset that Harry Potter isn't a perfect one-to-one comparison to Christianity, have I got a book series to recommend to you instead? Towards the end of the series, Harry is killed and is visited by a wise old friend in a location known as King's Cross Station? Oh, okay. Anyway, while there, Dumbledore more or less says to Harry Potter that the afterlife exists, which flies in the face of Wicca, who believe in reincarnation, as well as atheism and Satanism, both of which having no claim to an afterlife at all. In short, all of these previously stated narrative devices exist within the realm of fantasy and are used to create a sense of childlike wonder, and maybe even sprinkle in a message or two. Harry Potter's kind of like a Full Metal Alchemist, where it's we were on the same timeline and eventually we split, and it's just okay, alchemy was real, and if alchemy was real, that's the timeline that we go on instead of where we are now. Where this, it's Merlin and stuff, that's where we split off of. So, and here's the thing, a lot of the magic that happens within the realm of Harry Potter happens to characters. They can sometimes wield it, but it just kind of happens. So, for example, there are ghosts that walk around the castle at Harry Potter, in Harry Potter. There's ghosts that just walk around. You didn't summon them. Sometimes you can, but, you didn't summon them. They just exist there. And, you, as Harry Potter, you were born with these gifts. So these were given to you. It's possible that they were given to him by an almighty creator, because there's things such as mudbloods, like Hermione. Her parents genetically don't have the wizard gene, and she was just happened to get it for one reason or another. So it's just luck of the draw. If you were to make an argument that this is somehow a gateway drug towards the occult, I guess I can't really make a counter argument to that. Your religious practice is your own, and I'm of the belief that your relationship to God is a personal one. If I know anything about Jesus' love, he loves himself some sinners, and even worse, tax collectors. So if you believe the exploration of this world could lead you to sin, you could always find Jesus again, and he'll rejoice with his other 99 sheep. I think I did a decent job of breaking down why Christians, why they kind of look foolish when they're this promotes something other than Christianity. It's one, your religious practices can't be that fragile that you can look at a silly teeny bopper movie and your entire worldview is shattered. That, there's no way that it's that fragile. There's absolutely no way. And also, not that J.K. Rowling is, being an apologist for her own work in terms of Christianity. It's just, I feel it's very prevalent that it promotes Christian themes. It's not a replacement of Christianity, but it certainly promotes them. Just because it has a coat of paint with a magical backdrop doesn't mean that it's anti-Christian. I also think a lot of this comes from the iconography of Harry Potter, because it's like a very gothic, and there's castles and there's trolls and it's very dark, and it's like, oh, this is for kids. Like, I think people are all put by that because it's like so visually, like, it's not like Home Alone. It's not like, I don't know, like Five Goes West, an American Tale, like a Five Goes. It's like it's very unique in that, like, it takes gothic visuals and puts it in context of a children's story. Well, children's story that becomes a young adult story. Outside of Christians attacking Harry Potter in recent years, J.K. Rowling has ruffled some feathers with her rhetoric on feminism in female spaces. Something about her in AstroTurf I don't fully understand. Anyway, those most outspoken and upset with the witchy author have made it very clear they no longer want her input on the franchise and would very much like to see her go. Those people, much like the religious sycophants of yesteryear, have fundamentally misunderstood the brilliance of her work and how her reshaping of storytelling influenced the series as a whole. Obviously, we have the previous defensive examples of why Harry Potter doesn't promote anti-Christian messaging. Now I'll go on the offensive and explain why it actually does promote Christian messaging. Sorry, not sorry, atheists. Just to cut the head off this snake, according to the National Catholic Register, J.K. Rowling is a member of the Scottish Episcopal Church, which already isn't a good sign for an atheistic agenda. In a 2007 MTV interview with J.K. Rowling, it said that by the author's own acknowledgement, Harry Potter deals extensively with Christian themes, may be somewhat ironic considering that Christian leaders have denounced the series for glamorizing witchcraft. But the hits don't stop there. Allow me to break down some more examples throughout the series. I make the argument that Harry Potter is more akin to Jesus than any other, like, chosen one before. Neo, Luke Skywalker, Emmett from the Lego movie. I think Harry Potter is the single most unique in that he is the most like Jesus because he is prosecuted so much, especially by people outside of his world. He's attacked in his own world nonstop. It's just like Jesus. He was attacked by his own, by everyone. Well, maybe not everyone, but like he was attacked by his own people. Like, comment, and subscribe. And you know what? I'm glad everyone in the comments is getting along. That really, it fills me with joy. I appreciate that.
Do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living. And above all those who live without love.
Magic is not this world's most powerful form of energy. In a wishy-washy and borderline cheesy way, it's said that love is. One of, if not the most powerful wizard of all time, attacks a helpless infant. And the only reason Harry Potter was able to survive was his mother's selfless and loving sacrifice. Later in the series, Harry does the same, and lovingly sacrifices himself for a betterment of his world. A price he willingly pays, and even purges another's sin with his own body. We could go into more detail about how some of these stories overlap, such as Star Wars, Lion King, but I'm not here to talk about The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. Look into that on your own time. Today's about a different JC. In this, love is the most powerful form of energy, essentially. Which, again, if you're a Christian, that is 100% where you stand, or you should stand as well. There's some weird sects out there, like the Westboro Baptist Church, which I think is defunct. I think they're gone. Oh no. God damn it. What were we talking about? Love. Oh, right. Yeah, no. So within Christianity, like, love is the most powerful form of energy. And that's within the first, like, I would imagine, first movie. I think they even say it. Where it's just like, the reason that you, Harry Potter, survives the most power. It's like somebody putting a gun to a baby's head and then they pull the trigger and it's just like, love saved the baby. It's just like, how the did that happen? If that is not a miracle sent from God above, I don't know what is. Throughout the series, Harry Potter is bullied by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed wizard supremacist. And at the end of the series, this character and his friends are attempting to gravely harm Harry. When Harry has the chance to escape a dangerous inferno and leave Draco to suffer his self-induced fate, Harry turns back to save him and allows Draco to live another day, hopefully to repent for his past behavior. I, along with most others, wouldn't have the Christ-like strength to forgive our enemies as much as we would like to be forgiven. Immediately after Draco's rescue, the boy is given a chance to return to his bigoted family or remain with the proverbial good guys, to which he struggles a bit, only to return to his family. The most poignant is the final scene of the series, when a middle-aged Harry and Draco give a knowing glance towards one another, as if all had been forgiven between the two, proving to the audience the power of forgiveness. I could see the argument that like, oh, well, forgiveness doesn't exist within Christianity. Okay, I get it. Yeah, whatever. Got it. It's like the way forgiveness in Christianity is the same with American free speech. It's like, I need to be convinced, I need to see evidence that it existed beforehand. So like the blanket statement of forgiveness like is like the tent pole of Christianity. Of course it could exist within other religions, so on and so forth, but like that was the main idea driven through Christianity, that you can repent, that you can achieve more, that you can be reborn, and your sins don't have to define you. Same thing with free speech in America. It's like, okay, yes, other countries can practice free speech, but we were the first, and if I'm wrong, I would like to see the evidence, we were the first to write it down. I've seen people say like, oh, there's free speech in England. It's like, oh, well, there's people getting locked up for like posts on Facebook. So it's like, that's a little weird. I don't know. I don't know how I don't think that's true. Like, I just don't believe that. Along with Draco is Professor Snape, a crotchety professor who seemingly belittled and antagonized Harry throughout the series. It wasn't until the final reveal, after his inner secrets were made real, did the audience understand the delicate balancing act Snape was taking part in. Spying on behalf of goodness even when all seemed lost, redeeming his character in his final moments, and revealing his true motivations to both the character and the audience. The redemption of the character being proven after the student he tortured most names his son after him. Harry Potter, he gives his youngest son the middle name of Severus. Throughout his youth, Harry Potter was bullied and belittled by this grown man because he had a crush on his mommy. And then Harry Potter is like, you know what? Good guy. Like, what the f***, Harry? For the most part, Harry Potter is kind of like a wet blanket as a character. The uncorruptible person, the person who like kind of doesn't learn anything over the course of the story, like isn't all that interesting unless you beat the shit out of him. And Harry Potter got the shit beat out of him. And so did another person that we were talking about earlier. I can't remember his name though. Towards the end of the series, Harry holds the Resurrection Stone before his battle with Voldemort. Once Harry Potter is slain by the villain, he's taken to an all-white train station where he watches the broken fragment of Voldemort's soul helplessly tremble, to which he's told there's no helping it. Afterwards, once Harry and Dumbledore reconnect, Dumbledore says, "Where do you think we are?" Now, if in this moment Dumbledore was a figment of Harry Potter's subconscious interacting with him, this question would be irrelevant and an obvious throwaway to a scriptwriter's page, where they ration every second. Not to mention, entirely irrelevant to the larger question at hand, such as, will all my friends die? Instead of, look at all these trains. Obviously, throughout the series, the afterlife is both implied with ghosts flying around, but where these spirits go after passing has been a relative mystery. This is all made clear once Dumbledore tells Harry what would happen if he boarded a train, being that he completed his mission. He'd move on, implying his consciousness would exit his mortal coil and reunite with the great beyond. I have talked to atheists about Harry Potter, atheists who love Harry Potter, and they hate that I bring it up. That is like, there's an afterlife in Harry Potter. Like, no, there's not! And it's like, there's ghosts. Like, what do you mean? It's very obvious. They don't put the word heaven to it, sure, but like it's very heavily implied when Harry Potter goes to the all-white King's Cross station and Dumbledore's like, you're moving on.
We're in King's Cross, you say? I think if you so desired, you'll be able to board a train.
And where would it take me?
On.
If you were to like Mad Libs this and put like, okay, what are synonyms for these things? Eventually you would get to the sentence of Harry Potter goes to heaven. That's the implication of that scene and where we end up. So in the scene where Harry Potter dies, meets Dumbledore, who has already been dead. Dumbledore's like, where are we? And then Harry's like, we're at King's Cross Station, and Dumbledore's like, interesting. Why would his own consciousness ask him a question that he already knew the answer to? It's irrelevant. And if that was the case, why would the screenwriters put it in there if that was supposed to be the implication? The hardest thing about writing is you have to remove things, at least in a filmmaking perspective, because you have to ration your words. Each page roughly ends up to be about 1 minute. Writers want to put as few words on page as humanly possible. They only need what is absolutely necessary. What you can remove, it's not important, get rid of them. That scene in particular is the perfect implication of like, okay, yeah, heaven exists. Along with Harry Potter, within the context of the Bible, the coming of Christ was prophesied. Christ was prophesied to human by angels, where Harry Potter was... Well, hold on. There's an easily forgettable and borderline throwaway scene from the third installment of the franchise, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, where the precognizant Professor Trelawney explains to the main character the events to come. If I were to observe anything about the Harry Potter franchise and the use of the time manipulation, it's that the loop completes itself, leaving nothing truly up to chance and having events circle back in on themselves. In this scene, Trelawney speaks in an abstracted voice, and immediately after cannot recall the information given, which leads me to believe that something, or someone, was speaking through her. Now, I'm sure there's a Potterhead out there who has all the answers, and by all means, curse me out in the comments below. I'll go through some examples of who or what was speaking through her. She's speaking through herself! Ah, yes, Queen! Even if the good professor is talented in her ways of foreknowledge, it's obvious her consciousness isn't the one driving the bus in her more potent visions. I can see the argument, well John, most living creatures exist in a dream state. The first living life forms like fungus and trees aren't conscious, and only the newest organisms, cosmically speaking, develop consciousness as a way to feed and procreate. Well, to that I say, I'm sure there are people out there who solve complex math equations only to suffer a major seizure afterwards, but I'd also imagine that's few and far between, and that these examples would be moot. It's obvious, in a world of hippogriffs and basilisks, something more fantastical is going on. You could argue it's the universe, but that would mean that the universe is conscious, which would imply God exists. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's explore some other ideas first. This is the obvious choice. It's been seen in the series thus far. Voldemort have been using others to host his consciousness and do his bidding. But 1. Voldemort wouldn't have access to the knowledge, and 2. Even if he did, he would gain nothing to disclose the information to Harry, which leads me to my second suspect. Immediately, before the prophecy, Sirius Black can be seen whispering to Harry Potter through a crystal ball, which could have many implications. But I'm not convinced it was Sirius. 1, I'm not convinced Sirius has the capabilities to pull this stunt off, being that we haven't seen him do it before or since. And 2, even if he did, again, he'd gain nothing. Now, could the wine moms of yesteryear be correct that this had been a clever psyop to trick children into giving themselves up to the devil? I doubt it. Ultimately, the information given to both the audience and the Chosen One led towards a better world with evil vanquished. The almighty evil of the universe wouldn't have done this. In storytelling, there's a narrative device called Deus Ex Machina, which essentially is a Latin and egotistical way of saying the author putting the thumbs on the scale. Think of moments like the crane at the end of Toy Story 3, the bucket of water at the Wizard of Oz, and a random rat releasing Ant-Man in Avengers Endgame. Moments that were set up by complete chance so that the author can insert themselves into the narrative to set the story straight. Kind of like another historical figure we've been talking about. Anyway, the Harry Potter series is no stranger to this concept, but most of the time the machine of God manifests from animals. Think of the Phoenix in Chamber of Secrets saving Harry from certain death, or even the Hippogriff saving Harry Potter and Hermione from the werewolf attack in Prisoner of Azkaban. The only character with motive to express Trelawney's prophecy would have been the creator of this tale to tip off our protagonist in a unique way as well as create intrigue and suspense, what J.K. Rowling is stylistically known for. Is Miss Rowling claiming to be God in this moment? I doubt it. I'd argue that she, like Trelawney, was being used as a vessel to express a divine tale to be told to the modern age. Biblically, right? So like people are like, oh well, freaking magic in Harry Potter is evil because it it's bad. Magic is bad. But also within the context of the Bible, there are people who prophesied, and like obviously there was some kind of divine intervention that was happening. So like that is a supernatural occurrence within the context of the Bible. Granted, obviously it was either angels or God speaking through another person, but that is also how you could view Harry Potter. There is a divine thing where goodness and decency will prevail. And at the end of the series, that's exactly what happens. Whether or not Miss Rowling was used to lead people towards the occult magic or as a storyteller to imbue people with strength and wisdom isn't up for me to say. It's up for you and where you put your energy. But I do know one thing. I'm sure there are people out there thinking, well, it's possible that outside influences other than J.K. Rowling could have steered the Harry Potter ship towards the Christian allegories. But one, of the original 8 Harry Potter movies, there are 4 directors from an assortment of backgrounds. The clear Christian influences wouldn't have traveled from installment to installment without the nucleus, the idea transcending their involvement, which leads me to my next point. 2. The clear through line here was the author J.K. Rowling, who notoriously had more influence over the story than most other literary authors, especially for her first outing, which leads me to believe she was the true architect to the Christian influence. With the advent of modern youth finding traditional vehicle of religion to be stuffy and tired, the story of Harry Potter masterfully disguised its clear Christian messaging inside a coat of pagan paint. The result was a modern retelling of a 2,000-year-old tale of redemption and resurrection. If you disagree, try and critique Harry Potter and watch its most devoted fans fall over backwards and try to defend it as if it were a book they base their entire moral compass on. Atheists and Christians are like thrashing about the other, and they're like, I don't get my morals from a fictional book. If you love Harry Potter to death and you're like, well, on this page, like, I want to be more like Harry. On this page, I want to be more like Hermione. It's like, okay, you're basing your morals off of a book that you know to be fictional. And, like, you make the same argument for Christians. So it's like, both of these people are like, both of them are stupid. That's what I'm getting at. Both, you're dull. Yeah, everyone's dumb. Anybody, whoever watched this is a stupid idiot. Like, comment, subscribe, you big, dumb, stupid idiot. In closing, I'd like to say, if you're a Christian who believes Harry Potter to be devil spawn, maybe you should give credence to the wildly popular and influential works of fiction the Bible is clearly inspired. And if you're an atheist who believes J.K. Rowling was motivated by anything outside of her own imagination, I recommend you read more, especially the works that the good author clearly references throughout the series. In short, God exists and the Harry Potter franchise. Have a good night.
I'll be going now, Harry.
Professor? Is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
What do you guys think? Have I persuaded you? Like, where do you stand? Is it more pagan? Is it more Christian? I'm curious. Because as it is now, I went into this not realizing that, like, how much influence Christianity had over Harry Potter. It's really interesting. Obviously, I kind of knew that there were pagan stuff going on, but, like, I didn't realize how, like, few pagan stuff there really was. Like, we assimilated, like, basilisks and a whole bunch of all the iconography of, like, the creatures and stuff into mythology. It's not necessarily pagan or Wiccan. It's certainly not Satanist. If anything, they're satanic characters, but they're the villains. Like, so it's like, okay, how are you going to tell the story of the Bible without bad guys? Like, you can. Like, oh, yeah. And then King David threw the slingshot, and there was no one there, and he's good to go. He's king now. What? No, you need Goliath in the story to tell good and evil. If you're a theologian, let me know down below. If you're a Potterhead, let me know down below. And Christians and Potterheads, just, talk to one another. Get along. Let's see if I'm sure there's more overlap than you realize. Let's have some pot. Burning some bush.